I've spent this year falling in love with my local anime community and really immersing myself at conventions. And I actually mean immersing myself, not just walking the dealer's hall 20 times in a day and seeing people in passing that I never speak to. Going to anime conventions have always been the highlight of my year ever since I started going a decade ago, and Anime Weekend Atlanta 2025 has reminded me what I love about connecting with other weirdos that share my interests and yapping with fellow freaks. So let me take you guys on the journey of AWA 2025. It all started Wednesday night. This year, my group was missing a couple of people. They're my con family though, so despite missing some dear friends, we made the most of our time together. Starting at Korean markets in Duluth. Smells like fish in here. And of course, our now traditional pre-con Korean barbecue. We also took a late night arcade run because we were hoping our parking passes would start at midnight on Thursday like they did last year. They did not, but I still got some rhythm game wins. The arcade we went to was actually across the street from the old Anime Weekend Atlanta venue. Hey guys! We're at AWA! We're here! We're at the convention. Day zero for real. We're at the convention. Y'all know the old spot, the old haunt, the Cobb Galleria. This location holds a special place in my heart because it was my first ever convention, which was AWA 2016. And it's forever iconic for that reason. Anyway, we eventually made it to the right location where we checked into our room and got settled for bed. Thursday was a big day. It was officially day one, and Anime Weekend Atlanta has a garage sale type of event where anyone can purchase a table and sell whatever used goods you expect to see at an anime convention on their day ones, Thursdays. Emerald and Monty always set up a table, and this year, they offered to let me sell a few things as well, since I had gotten a surprise root canal earlier that week and it was expensive. Anyway, before we could make it down to the sale, we had to go down and pick up our badges, but not before I called Emerald and myself out for being liars. Hey Emerald, we're both a couple of liars.
Why?
I have it on video of us saying we weren't gonna come to AWA this year, and look at us.
Oh yeah. I don't know about next year. We don't know yet.
The convention floor itself was pretty dead, but it was a Thursday morning and the weekend before Christmas. Thursdays are usually relatively dead for Anime Weekend Atlanta because it's typically, as far as I've been going to it, held at a time of year where some people are still in school, so any students may or may not be skipping class on a Thursday morning to be at an anime convention. Also, typically, things don't really get started until Thursday afternoon, so that makes sense. This year was different though. But yeah, being the weekend before Christmas, it was relatively dead the entire weekend, compared to previous Anime Weekend Atlantas. After getting our badges, we did have like 20 minutes to kill before we had to go set up for the Super Happy Fun sale, so we hit the dealer's room, where we spent most of that time at the Kinokuniya booth. I didn't feel comfortable filming much during the sale, but it was cool to walk around and see all the cool things that people had to sell. A lot of what people bring here is vintage items and special merch from places like pop-up cafes or things that were mostly released in Japan. I think it's cool to see all that. And I may have become an unskippable cutscene for a very, very nice person selling a bunch of Osomatsu items. Listen, I love Osomatsu-san, and I have no friends that watch it. Anyway, I did buy quite a few items from them, so they got money for their listening ears. During the sale, though, Emerald and I had to leave Monty to fend for himself, because we had a Satosugu panel to run. Back on this heat again. Emerald, how do you feel?
More confident than I did last time. And less nervous for sure.
That's good. This year, we submitted the same two panels we hosted at MomoCon back in May, and I do have to say, running them back a second time was very beneficial. We did a better job now that we were more comfortable running panels and knew we didn't have to rush through all of our slides. Our panel is done. Now we're headed back to the fun sale. We've left Monty there by himself. I've sold things so far.
Heck yeah.
So we'll go see what the damage is. After the panel, we did head back to the sale. Fun fact, selling at the Super Happy Fun sale takes up a good portion of your day. From setup, the hours manning your table, and packing things up after, it's basically the main event if you are selling at it. But Thursday did still have a lot to offer. Did you guys know? I have never been to a concert before prior to this year's AWA. Anime Weekend Atlanta has a lot of musical guests and musical performances, but I had never made a point to go to one. AWA is truly the site of a lot of firsts for me. My first convention, my first rave, and now my first concert. We did have to go see Flow, and it was super cool because the convention actually worked with the group in scheduling the American tour so that we were their last stop. I'll be honest, I only know like 3 Flow songs, so it was mostly just good vibes, but once we got to the songs I actually knew, it was honestly really cool getting to experience the difference between streaming a song and actually witnessing it performed live. The energy was really fun, and I'm so glad I went. Even if I left super overstimulated, I think next time I go to a concert, I'm not gonna go on an empty stomach. After the concert, we did head back to the room for dinner. Food in my belly, it was time to actually go to some panels.
Sacrificing himself doesn't give him character development. That just proves that he's right to us.
And my personal favorite of the night, shoujo that should have been 18+, which was basically going through some wild shoujo manga that the host had read as a kid that they felt would be better suited for an 18+ story, and what changes they would make to actually make the story be 18+ for real.
She just deserves to have a gun.
It was a lot of fun and a great way to end the night. It is 1 a.m., but there is nobody here. Nobody here.
It's also Thursday.
It is Thursday, yeah, that's true. Friday, I got up bright and early. Okay, it was like 11 a.m. But I headed down to the con solo because I had some good friends coming to hang out with me today. My besties Roy and Libby. Anyone who watches my Twitch streams may know Roy as the unhinged man in my Baldur's Gate runs that likes to kill everything and keep bodies as trophies. I promise he's a chill guy for real. We vibed around the con for a bit before I held them hostage for a Black Butler fan meetup that was on the schedule. Y'all know I have Black Butler autism real bad, so I had to go yap and make some Black Butler friends. And make friends I did! I've always struggled with coming out of my shell and actually talking to strangers at conventions, especially at these fan photo shoots. I don't know why, but I always get really self-conscious and I feel very strange going up and starting conversations, especially when most people at the meetup are already in groups. However, Black Butler's a pretty small fandom in practice, and it was a lot less scary to actually talk to everyone else, and I'm really proud of myself. I don't know if it's the fact that most of my friends are long distance, but it's been pretty important to me lately to connect with local fan communities, to make friends that aren't in different time zones, and find the joy closer to home and offline. That's why I love anime conventions. After yapping it up at the Black Butler meetup, we did head back down to the dealer's hall. My friend got me Christmas Sebastian for Christmas. And this is particularly notable and funny because at the Black Butler shoot, there was not a single Sebastian cosplayer. We finally got rid of that man. Everyone there was also hating on him just like I love to do. It was great. And eventually, I had to bid Roy and Libby farewell for the day. I then headed back to the dealer's hall again to meet up with Emerald and Monty. Take a shot every time a con attendee goes to the dealer's hall. We did get Jujutsu Kaisen Labubus though, which I thought would cure me of wanting one of those fuck-ass creatures, but I fear the allure of a trinket is too strong, and now that I have a child, I yearn for another. He's got all the yaoi. But with that, the day was turning to night, and I had another costume to change into. Christmas CL is fun, but I had a much more cursed and funny to me cosplay, Ritsuka from Loveless, so we headed back to the hotel room to chill and turn into a catboy. With it being a Friday night, the hotel lobby was looking ominous for the holidays? Yeah, sure, why not? It looks like that all weekend. Anyway, Friday night panels, woo! I genuinely really love going to panels. It's wild to think that a couple of years ago, I hardly went to any, if at all. What in the world did I even do at cons back then? It's such a great time to go and connect with people and watch what are essentially video essays in real life. Yeah, most anime convention panels nowadays are either games, info dumps and analysis, or a combination, and I really do enjoy them. a lot. After witnessing the animal balloon of despair, Emerald and I did go back up to the room to grab my laptop for our final panel of the weekend, the BL one. I say final like we did more than 2. Are you ready to go have a public yaoi goon sesh?
Always.
Anyway, I needed my laptop to host the panel, which I will say was super fun. I love yapping, and I loved that people who went to the panel yapped back, especially when I brought up some infamous BL comics that have been recently coming out that are truly wild in concept. I genuinely love the limitless human imagination. Like, what are we doing? Who came up with that? The BL panel went really, really well. It went better this time than it did at MomoCon. I didn't record it, but it went really good. It was the whole time, and we did pretty good. I don't think there's like that much difference in the information. We just yapped a bit more about the series.
It's not more comfortable just
Yeah, now that we knew that like we had time to talk about things, we got to talk, and it was really fun.
It was really fun. We had a really good time.
Yeah, now I have to take my computer back to the room, and then we're gonna go yap and yowie. Anime Weekend Atlanta does have 18+ panels, which MomoCon doesn't, but all of these 18+ panels are typically at night, and most of the BL panels are also 18+. So if you want to yap and yowie, you gotta stay up late. And can I just say, I may not actually read a lot of BL beyond ancient shoujo manga, especially when it comes to a lot of these newer webcomics that most of these panels are about, but I absolutely adore the local BL lovers. When it comes to BL panels at Atlanta conventions, all of the hosts are super funny and very engaging, and it's just a warm and cozy environment of people collaboratively being freaks over queer fiction, and I love it. I've never had a bad time at a BL panel at an Atlanta anime convention. I spend a lot of these panels just looking around the room thinking about how much I love being in these spaces and how cool everyone is. If you are a BL fan that goes to conventions in Atlanta, I love you and I want to be your friend. The real yaoi was the friends we've made along the way. Saturday started pretty late with some Christmas movies in the hotel room, and I also had to put on face paint. Anyway, we then started our con day by heading down to the dealer's room to get our daily shots in. And then we headed to Is Your Favorite Anime Character Going to Jail? A panel hosted by an actual attorney, which was really fun.
I got so many people live.
Basically, they examined specific scenarios from anime and tried to determine if the character would go to jail based on Georgia law. And it was very goofy. Roy and Libby did meet up with us for this one, and after an unfilmed hotel room vibe session, aka dinner, our big group hit the con floor again, together but separate. There's Emerald and Monty, off doing their thing. Libby so kindly helped me take photos of my Vampires SMP cosplay, my newest hyperfixation. Yeah, Minecraft roleplay server, some pathetic man named Avid turned vampire and demon. That's my cosplay, and my new favorite little guy.
Move out of my way.
He said journalistic integrity.
For Saturday night, the con didn't have that many people hanging around. I'm unsure if everyone was doing things like panels or hotel lobby party or other musical performances that were going on in the main events, but it was genuinely much less crowded this year, which, you know, probably wasn't great for business, but really great for me. I enjoyed it. It also probably didn't help, again, weekend before Christmas, but also Hallmat was going on this exact same weekend, and that convention has been the Christmas convention in the Southeast for a very long time. If there's a Black Butler trivia panel on the schedule, my ass is gonna be there. And I was. I dragged Roy and Libby with me before they had to go home, and while I didn't film any of it, just know it was really good. I had a great time. And they had questions that I didn't know, which is always really cool for me. I love learning new things about Black Butler. And I did stand around and yap afterwards with my new friends that I made the day before. Anyway, I was sick of wearing face paint and also tired of wearing a cosplay, so it was comfy cozy time because I very optimistically thought we would go to more panels and do more convention things. We are heading back down to go to Young Academics on Ice. because it's a yaoi panel. Yeah, out of cosplay. It's the last thing.
Extremely proud.
It's the last thing we're going to tonight, and then we're going to bed.
That's it.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it is late already.
Yeah.
So.
I'm tired.
However, we did have to leave this panel pretty early because we were just exhausted. Uncharacteristically so. I've never been this tired at a convention before. Usually the tiredness hits when I get home. This panel is one that happens every year, and I've enjoyed it in the past. And we also met the host at a panel the night before and hung out with her at a BL panel that was like, you sat in groups at tables, and we just had a great time. So I was really sad to not be able to be at their panel. But anyway, we slept. Sunday morning eventually rolled around, and I learned why this weekend was sapping more of my energy than usual. I caught the con crud. I caught a cold. Rest in peace to me. Sick and not having packed some crucial aspects of my Angel Devil cosplay, I opted not to cosplay at all, which is weird for me. But Emerald said that was character growth. If you've ever noticed, Emerald does not like to cosplay a lot at cons, and I almost exclusively wear cosplays. I don't pack a lot of normal clothes to cons. So, that's just to say how weird it is that I chose not to cosplay at all on Sunday. I did mask up to keep my germs to myself because you know how embarrassing it would be to be the one out there spreading con crud? Couldn't be me. I did head down to the con to meet up with my lovely faceless friend Moya, who only comes on Sundays to hit up the artist alley and also avoid the crowds. This is also why I didn't really film anything on Sunday. Moya's not super comfortable being on camera, and I also just didn't feel particularly great. But I did get to go through the back rooms. The elevators at the hotel were jam-packed with people trying to check out, and there was a huge line of people with luggage waiting to go down on my floor. So I and another person who had been waiting in the line braved 23 flights of stairs. By the end of it, my legs were very shaky and I felt like jelly, but I was so glad to not be waiting in elevator hell. And I could finally meet up with Moya, who had been combing through the artist alley while they waited for me so patiently. This is Moya's favorite hallway.
Yes, it is.
The one that goes nowhere. Sundays are usually pretty dead at cons, even when there are more people at the convention than there were this weekend. Sunday mornings, usually pretty chill, pretty quiet. Everyone's either still asleep, hungover, checking out of their hotels. A lot of people just don't even go on Sundays, and it's just much quieter overall in the con hall. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. It's more of a thing at Anime Weekend Atlanta than MomoCon, I have noticed, but AWA is more of a party and drinking con, so that might be a factor. I just love picking up on patterns. Anyway, I did have a very important panel I wanted to go to that afternoon because I love musical theater and I love women. And I wanted to learn about the Takarazuka Revue, which is basically an all-female theater troupe in Japan, and they do really cool things, and I've been wanting to learn more about them since I learned of their existence. I kind of knew they existed for a while, but I didn't really know a lot about what it was until this year, 2025. Not the year I'm uploading this video. The panel was also super cool because the host had lived in Japan for a while, across the water from the actual theater, and they had a lot of cool insight. They told us about fan clubs and the culture of fan clubs, which is wild. Being in a fan club is like a full-time job. I mean, you don't get paid, you have to pay to be in it. But the competitiveness and the things that you feel like you have to do is a lot. This panel was slotted for later in the day. It started at 2 p.m. and the convention closes at 5. So it was a very chill time, and I did make some cool friends that are also into older anime series, so now I really have to watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That's been on my I want to watch list for at least 3 years now. I just haven't done it yet. To wrap up the convention, we did go to the closing ceremonies, and this was my first time actually going to closing ceremonies. As far as I'm aware, most conventions do have a closing ceremonies thing, but I'm usually either at other panels that I wanted to go to, or one last dealer's hall run in the final hour of the convention. So it was neat to do something different. At some cons, the closing events seem to be more of a formal thing that some of the paid guests, like cosplayers and maybe even like judges for cosplay contests and things like that, go to bid farewell to the convention. This is based on my friend's vlogs at cons that she guests at, so like I don't know if that's really true for a lot of conventions. But Anime Weekend Atlanta's closing ceremonies is literally just the guy who runs the con sitting on the edge of the stage answering questions. It's super casual. And I'm nosy. And when people come up to him and they're like, "Hey, why the hell is it like this? Why did you do this?" I too want to know. And with that, Anime Weekend Atlanta 2025 came to a close, and thank God it won't be the weekend before Christmas in the future, because I've had back-to-back travel with this con and the holidays, and it's evident by the fact that this vlog didn't come out until like the first week of January. The second Sunday in January, actually. I'm usually much quicker about this, I promise. But holidays aside, this convention was a really good time for me and a great reminder of why I love conventions in the first place. Why do I even spend so much time and money on these silly weekend trips where I'm just walking around in costume, spending too much money on things I don't actually need? It's about the people that I spend that weekend with. The community that all comes together for a few days to share their passions, and a reminder that most people aren't like the strange people on the internet that makes you want to never interact with fan spaces. Going to conventions is like finding that online fandom community in real life, totally offline, and connecting with it in a way that I find a little bit easier to do and more fulfilling. I don't know about you guys, but I'm terrified to talk to random people on the internet when it comes to fandom spaces. I'll just like your tweet and keep going. Will I respond? Probably not. Sure, most of the friendships you make at conventions will be primarily fostered online when not at a convention, but even having cons twice a year to meet up at, or knowing some of these cool people live within a couple hours of me, is nice. It grounds that sense of connection in a world where real-life community is possible, in some ways. And it helps me feel less alone in a world that feels isolating. I don't know if that's the autism speaking, or a loneliness epidemic, or both, but conventions fight that off. And it helps that I get to spend a few days with a group of people I consider my closest friends. Anyway, thanks for watching. I did my vlog much differently than I usually do, because I low-key fell out of love with vlogging, or at least the way I vlogged in the past, and I wanted to do something different with the footage that I did record. So, thanks for sticking to the end. If you like the vibes, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be the Year 24 group deep dive that I asked you guys like a month ago if y'all would be interested in that. Anyway, that's the next video. Bye! Sailor Scout down!